Hello, hi there Pisceans, welcome to my channel. My name is Bella and most people know me as Bella the Secret Psychic, and this is your monthly horoscope, your love horoscope for March 2018. And how I do my readings is with the help of my spirit guides. So I link in and I give you a general overall themes that you need to be considering when it comes to your love life as you go forward. So if you'd like to know more about me, all the links are just down below. Perhaps you'd like to join my Facebook page where I give live daily guidance there too. Perhaps you'd also like to have a chat with me, and chats with me start from as little as $4.99. So anyway, most of you know I like to just jump in there. So first of all, my guides start your reading like this, that in this month, you're going to need to breathe. It feels like with your love life, with encounters, with conversations, with stuff that happens, breathe before you say something. Breathe through any anxieties. Breathe, because it feels like to me there are going to be situations that come before you and in you where you're going to need to kind of just take a deep breath before you react or say anything, or before you let your inner critic or inner voice that may be quite negative about the situation because you're trying to assess it get the better of you, basically. Breathe, because things aren't necessarily things as bad as they may seem, but if you don't breathe, you may escalate them to make them far worse than they need to be. So the theme for your month is about breathing, basically. So let's look at this week by week. So what my guides are saying here, in the first week, you feel really... So first of all, let me just backtrack a little bit, because my guides are saying here that during this month you will be distracted by other things that are outside of your love life, to do with work, career, study, things like that. That it feels to me that you're spreading yourself a bit thin, guys, trying to juggle too many things, which means your availability is not as you want it to be when it comes to your existing partners or your dating appetite, let's say, and also, because you're exhausted and tired, this is another reason why you need to breathe, because you may not be seeing things very clearly because of exhaustion, basically. You know, sometimes that can make us a bit snappy than usual. This is how it's coming across. So in the first week, it feels to me that you feel very defensive, because it feels to me that there's talks with a partner, if you're in a relationship, about money and finances. If you're single, it could also be that you're feeling quite defensive because perhaps you can't take somebody on a date that week because you don't have the money, or you can't go because you don't have the money, and so you're feeling, because I get the other person needing more from you or wanting more from you, or even, you know, if you're in a relationship, needing money from you for something and you can't do it, and you're feeling quite defensive about it, basically. So you're on guard, but breathe through it, because I get, for some of you, which is very unlike you could be really snappy and quite accusatory. And so what I'm trying to do, I think what my guides are trying to do, is basically prevent unnecessary arguments and escalations, because what's happening is not a big a deal as perhaps you might be seeing it, basically. In the second week, what seems to be coming out quite a lot is you having to deal with someone's grumpiness, basically, and it might have tickled over from last week. So even though you might have handled it quite well, I feel here that they're feeling a bit neglected, basically. And this will also include, you may also feel a bit hard done by if you're in that second week not feeling like you're getting anywhere with your dating ambitions, again because of spreading yourself too thin, and the pool of people in the water are not seeming to, you know, meet your expectations. But mainly I'm getting it's somebody else around you, Pisceans, who is that you're noticing, because they are, to be fair, sort of huffing and puffing and grumpy and being a bit more quiet than usual. And you're feeling a little bit stressed about it, because you're thinking, oh, they need my attention now, and I don't really have the time to give them the attention they want because I'm doing other stuff, and I just need them to give me more time. So you're feeling some pressure, basically, from the other person, because the other person's wanting attention. And so it's mainly coming across. But my guys are saying breathe through it, in a way, be indifferent to it, don't question, don't try to pamper, because it's just a chapter, it passes. If you try to spread yourself too thin, then you'll get resentful for them, and if you just allow it to go, it goes away, basically. So they're just saying here, just being different in that week to that person too, no matter what type of connection that you have with them also. In the third week, you're getting here that you feel that the third week you feel a little bit more better, because I think if you've managed to do that breathing and not getting yourself kind of distracted, because think about it, if you get into arguments and get upset and get distracted and you're trying to focus on personal development and work, do you think you're going to do a good job if you're upset emotionally? You're not. So it's important you do that. In the third week, you seem a little bit more content because you kind of feel like you've got everything under control, and you're better able in that third week to offer yourself a bit better. And I would say here that your partner or the person you're dating, that's the opportunity to treat them like a prince or a princess, basically, because you're feeling a lot more confidence. I kind of get like dating kind of stuff, even if you're in a relationship. So I get like going out doing stuff, some outsource kind of stuff, planning for holidays, looking towards the future, and talks like that about, you know, where we're going, where we're heading. Things that give certainty to somebody, because when you have those kind of conversations with your partner or somebody new, and it's in the future, then you know you're still going to be with them if you're planning stuff in the future, if that makes sense. And so they're a lot more content in that week. So that's the journey, if you can follow it that way. If not, then you might find that again you're having to deal with problems because of spreading yourself too thin. It's basically like knowing what you can and can't do. And just because you're in a relationship doesn't mean that you should give, but it's also for the other person to also understand, and for you to try to be clear about that, but to not be baited basically into arguments with this person, because I get here that that's a definite possibility. But the third week definitely gets better. And it kind of continues for the fourth week. So I would say here the first couple of weeks is where this breathing aspect needs to come in. It could trickle all the way to the end of the month if you don't handle it correctly. But mainly, as you get to kind of the third week, you're back to being focused again on activities that are outside of your relationship, but you've left that person in a contented place. They have a better understanding that you are in their future, because the third week particularly, there was talks about where and what you're doing in the future together that has given them a sense of, okay, I don't need to worry that they're disappearing or they don't like me or there's a strain in our marriage or something like that. So there's a lot of contentment, which means that you can then leave them alone again and go off and do what you need to do, basically. So I think this is about getting a balance, to not let the pendulum swing one way or the other, that you need to breathe through decisions, breathe through your anxieties, breathe through having to manage other people's expectations of you. You can do it, basically. If you allow the pendulum to go one way or the other, then you will be spreading yourself too thick. You will, get resentful. There will be arguments, and you won't have a fun month, basically. So this is what insight is for. It's to kind of tell you the energy that's going to be about, so that you can go about it in a much more healthy way. And the healthy way is to breathe through it, being different, but communicate also too. And the third and fourth week, particularly the third week, you can do a lot of fixing in that, and put a focus also on what plans that you can make together also. So I do hope that that's been helpful and insightful for you. If you've liked this, do like, do share, do subscribe. Do love to hear from all of you also too. And again, if you'd like to get hold of me, all the links are just down below. So take care and you have a great March. Bye.